I'm truly delighted to be moderating this panel of fairly new young women publishers from Tamil. We are doing this panel because this is sets a kind of a new trend in Tamil publishing, which is traditionally dominated by male publishers. So when I first went to the New Delhi World Book Fair, that was in 2002, the first impression was I thought I have come to the heaven of Indian publishing, and where I could see books in 22 languages and all that. But also what I noticed was that Indian English publishing even then was fairly woman dominated in India. Not so the case of Indian language publishing then. You could walk the Chennai book fair in that year and not meet any woman publisher or editor. Again, when I went to Frankfurt in 2007, I could clearly see that the international publishing scene was again very much dominated by women publishing professionals. So, in Tamil, I am sure that there might have been many instances of women contributing significantly to the publishing industry. It may take a scholar to unravel the, fairly hidden or unknown woman, the role women have played in Tamil publishing. I can think of one instance. Nearly 40 years ago, I met Jaya. She was a feminist, independent, charming, caring person, and she had started the publishing house Kriya in the late, I think in the 70s. But if you write the history of Tamil publishing now, history now, there will not be a footnote on Jaya. She is no longer remembered, and she does not exist in the public mind, though some of us might remember her. But now I think there is something clearly new in the wind, not just in Tamil, but probably across Indian language publishing. I can see in many languages that women have come into publishing, and they have started new publishing houses. An idea for JBM is to do a women publishers round table next year. Yes. But in Tamil, I think it is quite unique that at least now probably 4 or 5 women are running their own publishing house. These are publishing houses that they have themselves started. They curate the list, and they are the public face of these publishing companies. And that, I think, is probably happening for the first time now. Let me quickly again introduce the panelists. Neveda Lewis, her CV says she's a writer, feminist, co-founder of Her Stories and its editor. She has founded Her Stories along with her mentor and business partner, Validasan. Can I please ask Validasan to stand up, please? I think it's very important that, there are not many men in India who know the importance of standing behind a woman. And Niveda grew up in a small town in south of Tamil Nadu called Ambasamudram, Vikramasinghapuram. And then she joined the Indian Railways, worked for several years there, and then she has resigned, and then she has finally started this publishing house. She will, of course, tell the story of her stories, the name of her publishing company. But I just want to quickly share one story which she told me in 2023. That was the year for the first time that they participated in the Chennai Book Fair. So a few days into the book fair, there was a call in the public address system asking the responsible people of Her Story stand to come to the book fair office. And there they were told that they have received a complaint that women are gathering in front of the stand and laughing out loud. She was told not to commit that crime anymore. But during the course of the panel, you will realize that she has not learned the lesson, So, and next I will introduce Ival Bharathi. She is the person in the panel I have known for the longest period. Ival Bharathi is her nom de plume. I do not know her real name. And in preparation for this panel, I caught a moment with her baby daughter in Chennai International Book Fair to know some truths. So I asked her, what's your mom's real name? She said she's not allowed to reveal that. But she did reveal that her mom has changed her names 5 or 6 times over the period to suit her different personas. So Ival Bharathi grew up in a small village in Ramanathapuram and then in Dharavi in Mumbai. She grew up in a family that clearly did not believe in educating women and felt that educating women might be a problem in getting them married off. But she encountered her school library and then the public library, fell in love with books. Her teachers supported her education. She did her graduation. Then she has worked in media across the genres: print media, radio, television, online media. And while she worked in the media to augment her income, she also did jobs of public professionals do, like laying out a book, doing a cover design, distributing books. And while she did all that, and then finally, at some point in life, she has decided to start her own publishing house, Nam Padipakam. And of course, she will tell you more about what she is working there. And other than publishing, for a while, she has served as the State Resource Person in Tamil Nadu Corporation for Women's Development, teaching kids gender and menstrual hygiene. And finally, I come to Gayatri Ramachandran. Gayatri was a professor in Gayatri was a professor in French in Stella Maris, Chennai for many years before she took the very unusual step of quitting a government job with its lifelong benefits and becoming a full-time publisher. She runs Zero Degree Publishing along with her business partner Ramji Narasimhan. She has translated books from French and English into Tamil. This January, she published her first short story collection, and very recently, she also acted in a bilingual film, Tamil-French movie. So with that, I introduce all three of them. And the first question I'm going to ask will be the common question for all of them, and then we will take the discussion further. The first question for all of you is that what prompted you to launch a publishing house, and what is your publishing list like? So, Bharathi will speak in Tamil and I will translate it later.
அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். நான் வந்து புதிய தலைமுறை, குமுதம், நக்கீரன் இப்படி பல மீடியாவில் ஒர்க் பண்ணிகிட்டு இருந்தேன். நிறைய நிறுவனங்களில் வேலை பார்க்கும்போது நிறைய சிரமங்கள் இருக்கும். நம்ம இனிமேல் எந்த நிறுவனத்தில் வேலை பார்க்கக்கூடாது, நாமே நிறுவனம் ஆகணும்னு எடுத்த அந்த டைமில் தான் கொரோனா வந்தது. அதுக்கப்புறம் நிறைய நிறுவனங்கள் மூடுற நிலையில் இருந்தப்போ எனக்கு வந்து நமக்கு நல்லா தெரிஞ்ச விஷயம் வந்து பப்ளிஷிங் தான். எனக்கு 15 இயர்ஸாக நான் வந்து இதில் ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். கிட்டத்தட்ட நிறைய பேருக்கு தமிழ் தெரியுது போல் தலையாட்டுறாங்க. ஸோ 15 இயர்ஸாக வந்து நான் இதில் ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். புதிய தலைமுறையில் பப்ளிகேஷன் இன்சார்ஜாக இருந்திருக்கேன். மிகப்பெரிய ஆளுமைகளோட புத்தகங்கள்லாம் கொண்டு வர்றதுக்கு நிறையா ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். அப்போ அந்த அனுபவத்தில் நம்ம இதை ஆரம்பிக்கலாம் அப்படின்னு தோணுச்சு. ஆனால் லாக்டவுன் டைமில் வந்து எல்லோரும் யூடியூப் சேனல் ஆரம்பிக்கும் போது நானும் யூடியூப் சேனல் ஆரம்பிச்சிருந்தேன்.
ஸோ Ival Bharathi, she had worked in many companies and media houses, and at some point she was tired of working for in these companies, and she decided to start a company on her own. And but around that time Corona stuck in India, so she could not do that immediately. And so when she thought about what she wanted to do, she was most familiar with publishing industry. Like I said, she has been doing these jobs as a part of her media work. She also headed the publishing wing of her during her tenure with the Putiya Katru TV channel. So she knew publishing area well. So then she thought that she would start a publishing company.
ஸோ என்ன பேர் வைக்கலாம் அப்படின்னு டிசைட் பண்ணப்போ எல்லோரும் நம் பப்ளிகேஷனுங்கிறத எப்படி வந்துச்சு, பரவாயில்ல நல்ல பேர், நம்ம பதிப்போம் அப்படின்னு சொல்கிற அளவுக்கு நல்ல பேர் தான். பட் வந்து அந்த பேருக்கு பின்னால் இருக்கிற உண்மை, இப்போ நிறைய பேர் குறித்து தான் முன்னால் சொல்லிகிட்டே இருந்தாங்க சார். பேருக்கு பின்னால் இருக்கக்கூடிய உண்மை என்னென்னா நிவேதிதா அண்டு முதல்வன், அதை தான் ஷார்ட் ஃபார்மாக வந்து நம்மன்னு வச்சுருக்கோம். பட் சொல்லி பார்க்கும்போது நம்ம பதிப்போகும், நம் மீன்ஸ் வி அப்படிங்கிறப்போ சரி வச்சுக்கலாம் அப்படிங்கிறது தான் அந்த நேமோட அர்த்தம்.
So her daughter is called Nivedita, her son is Mudalvan. So coining the first two words, she kept the name as Nam Publication, which also in Tamil referred to as our publication. So everybody was very happy that she has used such an intimate name. But the real reason was that it brings together her children's first letters together.
ஸோ நான் அதுக்கு முன்னால் என்னோடய புத்தகங்கள் ஒரு 12 புத்தகங்கள் வந்திருந்தது. 7 கவிதை தொகுப்பு, 2 வந்து கன்சியூமர் ரைட்ஸ், அப்புறம் வந்து டாக்குமெண்ட் ரிலேட்டடாக, அப்புறம் குழந்தை வளர்ப்பு குறித்து பேரண்டிங் ஆர்டிக்கல். ஸோ அந்த டைமில் என் புத்தகத்தையும் முதல்ல கொண்டு வரலான்னு சொல்லிட்டு கொண்டு வரும்போது இன்னும் 2 முக்கியமான ஆளுமைகளோட புத்தகங்களாக சேர்ந்து 2021 வந்து நாங்கள் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணோம்.
So she has already published several collections of poetry of her writings. So when she decided to start with her own writings, she also thought, no, maybe she could include some other interesting books. And so bringing a few books together, she's launched a publishing company in 2021.
அதுக்கு முன்னாடி லாஸ்ட் 10 இயர்ஸாக நான் வந்து சென்னை புத்தக கண்காட்சியில் 2010 அட்டன் பண்ணுறேன். அப்போல்லாம் என்னோடய புத்தகங்களை எடுத்துகிட்டு போய் எல்லா ஸ்டார்லையும், காலச்சுவர்லேருந்து எல்லா ஸ்டார்லையும் கொடுத்து வைக்கிறது வழக்கம். அப்போ நல்லா ரிசீவ் ஆகும், என்னோடய புத்தகங்கள் நல்லா சேல் ஆகிருக்கும். கவிதைகள் படிக்கிறவங்க என்ன இருக்காங்களா, தடுக்கி விழுந்தாலும் எல்லோரும் கவிதை எழுதிட்டு இருக்காங்க, அப்படி இருந்து நம்ம புத்தகத்தையும் வாங்கி படிக்கிறாங்களேன்னு ஒரு பெரிய சந்தோஷத்தில் இப்போ வரைக்கும் 18 புக்கு வந்துருச்சு கவிதை புத்தகம் என்னோடது. அந்த சந்தோஷம் இன்ன வரைக்கும் தக்க வச்சுட்ருக்கேன். ஏன்னா கவிதை வந்து அவ்வளோ ஒரு காதல்னு சொன்னால் எப்படி நம்மெல்லாம் மலர்ந்துருவோம், அந்த மாதிரி கவிதைன்னு சொல்ல நான் மலர்ந்துருவேன். அந்த மாதிரி கவிதைகளில் இன்ன வரைக்குமே யாரெல்லாம் ரிஜெக்ட் பண்ணுறாங்களோ வாங்க இங்கே நான் கவிதை போடுறேன் அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு தீம் வந்து எங்ககிட்ட உண்டு கவிதை புத்தகத்தை பொறுத்தவரை.
So before she started her publishing company, she distributed her own poetry collection in several stands in Chennai Book Fair, and the reception was pretty good. And she is really in love with writing poems. And if somebody says that, we can't publish poetry because it won't sell, then she wants to welcome those poets and give them the opportunity to publish their poetry, because she is confident that poetry can also sell well.
Okay, and you forgot to tell that I was also born in a very small town, very small village. A very small village, and I started learning English only when I was 19. And to be here, it's a great achievement for me. In fact, achievement is an understatement. So, yes, about our publishing house. So, what prompted us to start this publishing house is 2 writers. One is Patrick Modiano, a French writer, a Nobel awardee, and the second one is Mr. Charu Nivedita, a Tamil writer. So Patrick Modiano, in 2014, when he was awarded Nobel Prize for Literature, I thought I just had finished his one book called Catherine's Attitude, and I was thinking, we had lot of writers like Patrick Modiano in Tamil, and why they weren't there in the international arena. So that was when when I searched, there were no good translations of the Tamil writers, and I wanted to translate few of them into English. Not me, I want to find translators and translate them into English, and then take them to the world. And so I thought, I was thinking to start a publishing house in 2014, but I don't know anything about publishing at all. And then after some years in 2017, when my family friend Mr. Ramji Narasimhan and a Tamil writer Charu Nivedita and myself, when 3 of us went to Chennai Book Fair, we were searching for his books. He had published 68 books, but only 5 were available in the market. So he was really frustrated, and he told us that, this is the case for all the writers here, and, it goes out of print. Their books goes out of print after some years. And then my business partner, Mr. Ramji Narasimhan, said, why not start a publishing house? And, that was my dream, and I said, okay, I'll also pitch in, and I'll also invest in that, and that's how Zero Degree Publishing happened. And Zero Degree Publishing, we named it because it was Charu Nivedita's magnum opus. He was the one who gave all his books to start our publishing house. So his magnum opus is Zero Degree, so we named it. And my affinity for French literature, it's Roland Barthes has written a book called Degré Zero de l'écriture. So we combined both, and then we named it as Zero Degree Publishing. And our list actually You know what, we launched our publishing house in 2018, January 19 in Chennai, and after a week we launched in Jaipur Bookmark in 2018. You know, and after nearly 7 years, you know, we are now with 830 titles to our credit and 150 authors with us.
So good afternoon, all of you. This is my first time at a Lit Fest as a speaker. And this is the first time I'm wearing a business suit. I'm 46 years old. And say for 15 years ago, I was wearing a blue sari and a white blouse. And I was washing a toilet in a railway station. So my journey has been something really remarkable. I appreciate what has happened to me so far, what I've done with my life so far, and I'm really very happy that the Jaipur Lit Fest is hosting people like me here, bringing us all together, and I really thank Kannan for taking up this session, in particular inviting women publishers on stage, because it really makes a difference when your work is being acknowledged. When someone, a stalwart in Tamil publishing, says that, okay, you are a publisher, okay, it really gets to my head that, oh, I am a publisher, and I'm happy about it. Thank you so much, Kannan, for doing this. Kannan himself said that Tamil publishing space is a very, very man space. And as women in the Tamil space talking feminism is our USP at Her Stories. And with that USP, you would imagine all things running wild happening to us. And as Kannan initially said, I have not learned my lesson. I was a rogue, I am a rebel, and I will stay a rebel happily. We started as a social media page. We didn't have big dreams. We didn't have anything big with us. We didn't have a lot of money to invest. We still are, a very tight-boot company. And we started as a Facebook page during the COVID lockdown. We started in the name Her Stories because I was interested in history. I'm a historian myself. I've authored 12 books on ethnography, subaltern history, feminist history. And I have always been called a historian or a Wikipedia historian. And I challenged that by doing all my books on field. I go on field. None of my books have been written sitting in the home. I always do my field work. I've traveled across the state. And so that made me write or think about doing something called Her Stories. Because history is always partial to women. We have always been sidelined. We have always been in the shadows. And so why not we, women, when we start writing our history, it should be her stories. So that is the logic behind Her Stories. Let's write our stories. And instead of becoming, or there's a very popular saying, they say, women always remain a footnote in history. So instead of remaining a footnote in history, I decided I wanted to make history. And that's how we started Her Stories as a Facebook page. And when we started, we didn't have big dreams, as I said. Organically, we grew. Like 6 months onto the Facebook page, we thought, there were a lot of women who were willing to write for us, so why don't we start a web page for the women who are willing to write for us? So we started a web page, herstories.xyz, and we had a lot of women writing for us, established authors and newcomers who were interested in writing, because I am a talent hunter. Every social media post a woman writes, which is more than 10 lines, I make it a point that I go and read it. So I hunt for women who write. So once I spot a talent, I immediately pick the person, I talk to them umpteen number of times, I make it a point that they write something for me. So Her Stories started receiving articles from multiple people, multiple women, and we were very particular right from the beginning that we'll give the space only to women. I think we have only 2 books written by men. One is Marudan, who himself is a very ardent feminist, and another translation which was done by Srivatsav. Actually, the original was by Maumita Alam.
We'll come back to you later again, my second round question.
Thank you.
So, Bharathi, as a woman publisher, can you share with us how were you received by the Tamil publishing menu, the readers, the writers? Were you encouraged? Did you face any discrimination? What was the response from the Tamil context?
ஆண்கள் கோலோச்சக்கூடிய துறையில் வந்து பெண்கள் வந்து வரும்போது நிறைய சவால்கள் இருக்கும். ஆனால் அந்த சவால்களை எப்படி எதிர்கொள்கிறது அப்படிங்கிறத ஏற்கனவே பத்திரிகை துறை மூலமாக நம்ம கற்றுக்கிட்டதுனால இங்கே வரும்போது அது புதுசாக தெரியல. ஏன்னா சில இடங்களில் மட்டும்தான் பால் வேறுபாடு இல்லாமல் இருக்கும். அது வந்து பார்த்திங்கன்னா பத்திரிகையாளர்னால் இவங்க பெண் பத்திரிகையாளர் அப்படிலாம் சொல்ல மாட்டாங்க. பத்திரிகையாளர், ஜேர்னலிஸ்ட்னா ஜேர்னலிஸ்ட், ஃபீமேல் மேல் அப்படி சொல்கிறதே இல்லை. அது மாதிரி பதிப்பாளர்னு பார்த்தா இவங்க பெண் பதிப்பாளர்னு பெரிய தனியாக அடையாளங்கள்லாம் பெரும்பாலும் இருந்ததில்லை. இப்போ ஆனால் அது இருக்கிறது நல்லதுன்னு தோணுது. அதனால தான் இப்படி ஒரு பேனலே வந்து வைக்க முடியுது அப்படிங்கிறது. ஸோ அந்த வகையில் நிறைய சேலஞ்சஸ் என்ன அப்படின்னா, தமிழ்நாடை பொறுத்தவரை 40 டிஸ்ட்ரிக்ட்லேயும் வந்து புத்தக கண்காட்சி நடக்குது. தொடர்ந்து வருடம் முழுக்க நடக்குது. அப்படிங்கிறப்போ வெளியூருக்கு போகிற இடங்களில் வந்து பெண் பதிப்பாளர்களுக்கு தங்குறதுக்கான இடங்களோ, அவங்களுக்கான வசதிகளோ, அவங்க வந்தால் அதை ஓனர்ஸ் வர்றாங்க, நம்மளாம் ஓனராக இருந்தாலும் நம்மளும் தொழிலாளி மாதிரி இறங்கி எல்லா வேலையும் செய்ய தான் செய்கிறோம். ஸோ வந்தால் போகிறதுக்கு அந்த மாதிரியான ஃபெசிலிட்டிஸை வந்து இன்க்ரீஸ் பண்ணணும் அப்படிங்கிறத வந்து தொடர்ந்து நம்ம பேசிகிட்டு இருக்கோம். நான் என்னென்ன சேலஞ்ச் ஃபேஸ் பண்ணேன்னு பக்கத்துலேயே இருந்து பார்த்துருக்காங்க. எல்லாத்தையும் இந்த இடத்துல சொன்னோம்னா திரும்பி ஊருக்கு போகணும். அதனால் இது வரைக்கும் போதும்.
So before she was a publisher, she was already worked for 15 years in the media. So she had faced the challenges of what women would face in public space, and she has learned how to deal with them. But again, when you are working as a journalist, people refer to you as a journalist and not as specifically as a woman journalist. And so there is no such clear demarcation when you publishing either. But in a way, she is happy to be marked as a woman publisher because she thinks that's what brought her to this panel in Jaipur. So other than that, yeah. So Tamil Nadu government, as you know, now has a policy of promoting books in the state. So as a part of that program, they have mandated that every district administration will organize a book fair every year. So if we have about 40 district means in any given month, 4 or 5 book fairs will be happening. Right now there are about 5 book fairs happening. Now, that women have to travel to all these book fair, take care of the stand. So traveling, finding place to stay, finding the amenities required for women around the book fair, all these are challenges that they are facing when you have to travel and run your publishing house. And she hopes that these things will get better in the future. The possibility of having to travel alone, feeling safe while traveling, these might get better in the future.
Discrimination, no, I haven't felt any discrimination here. In fact, I have got lots of love from authors and readers. In fact, lots of love because few authors would sometimes message it too at night saying that you are doing a wonderful work. If you would call that a discrimination. Definitely. That's up to you. Yes, that's it. You want to say something?
I actually have a lot to say to this.
You have more time.
Thanks for the time.
Yes, I have.
Thanks for the time. About the authors, I think because we only encourage feminist authors and women authors, there's no question of discrimination at all when it comes from the author's side.
No late night messages.
No late night messages. But I do get late night calls. 11:30, 12 o'clock, someone will call and they'll bawl their eyes out and say all their problems. I'll be a patient listener and I'll say, okay, it happens, yeah, chalo. It happens to everybody, so let's tide over it. So I always offer a very keen ear when my authors reach out to me, especially at nights. So it's our time. And the most discrimination that I have faced is basically from the Booksellers Association. Like Chennai Book Fair, when 2023 was the last story. 22 stories completely different. So 2022, when I applied for a stall for her stories, I was denied a stall. When I went in and said, I am a feminist publisher and I have feminist books with me, there was one particular person who was in charge who asked me, what feminism? And I said, sir, feminism, sir, it's about women, sir, it's women's rights, sir. And he said, there are a lot of feminist women in Tamil Nadu. And there are a lot of other women who are doing the same work. How come you're different? And I said, no, sir. I am trying to promote feminist publishing, so I should do it on this way. And he said, no, you'll not get a stall. And then we had to apply in a different name. I don't know if it is okay to say that, but we applied in a different name. It was Kaleidoscope, which is another company run by my partner, and we got a stall. Her stories wouldn't get a stall, but Kaleidoscope would get a stall. Kaleidoscope got a call from the association asking, are you the one who is selling toys? Kaleidoscopes? Yes. Okay, you get a stall.
In a book fair.
In a book fair. So this discrimination has always been there, especially when you go out and say that you are a feminist author, when you are a feminist publisher. People look at you quite differently than they would look at the other so-called male publishers. And I would just narrate one incident. The recently concluded Chennai Book Fair, one of my staff who was working, she got her periods while she was working in the stall. And I was there, and she asked me, it's urgent, can I get a napkin, a sanitary napkin? And I was hunting for it in my handbag, I couldn't find one. Then I thought, why not go and approach the office? You know, the bookseller's office, they should be having something. I sent 2 people to ask in the office, and what was being told was that in a fair where thousands of women come, there's not a single sanitary napkin. A sanitary napkin is essential that needs to be kept in a fair, and it was not there. So what would you call that? 50% of the people who come to the fair are women, and something as very basic as a sanitary napkin is not accessible to them. You know, I had to order through Blinkit. The sanitary napkin pad cost me 28 rupees and the order cost me 70 bucks. So I had to order it. So we need to think on these lines like, what if a woman comes to this space? Is this space woman-friendly? I think it needs to start from that. You'd stop discrimination only when you think that there's another person in the room. It's not always about the men.
Okay. So, Bharathi, one of your important lists in publishing is your children's list. So can you share with us what inspired you to start your children's list, and what is your children's book list like?
இதுவரை நம் பதிப்பகத்தில் 200 புத்தகங்கள் கொண்டு வந்திருக்கோம். அதில் வந்து முதல் தலைமுறை எழுத்தாளர்களையும் பெண் எழுத்தாளர்களையும் குழந்தைகள் எழுத்தாளர்களையும் நாங்கள் ஊக்குவிக்கிறோம். 3 தான் எங்களுடைய நோக்கம். இப்போ மொழிபெயர்ப்புலையும் கொஞ்சம் ஈடுபட்டுருக்கோம். பெண்கள் வந்து எழுத வரணும் அப்படிங்கிறது தீவிர ஆர்வம் உண்டு எனக்கு. ஏன்னா பெரும்பாலும் வந்து அடுப்பில் சமையல் வச்சுட்டு இந்த பக்கம் குழந்தைங்களை பார்த்துட்டு அந்த பக்கம் கணவர்களை அனுப்பிட்டு இப்படி தான் பண்ணுவாங்க. அதே சமயத்தில் குழந்தைகளை நல்லா உள்வாங்கக்கூடியவங்களும் அவங்க தான். அப்படிங்கிறப்போ கதைகள் நிறைய அங்கே தான் கிடைக்கும் அப்படிங்கிறத என் மூலமாக நான் உணர்ந்துக்கிட்டேன். என்னோடய குழந்தைக்கு நிவேதிதாவுக்கு 1 இயர்க்குள்ளே அவளுக்கும் எனக்குமான பாண்டை பற்றி எழுதுன ஒரு அந்தளவுக்கு நான் அவளை எப்படி நேசிக்கிறேன், அவளுடைய செய்கைகள்லாம் வச்சு ஒரு கவிதை தொகுப்பு எழுதினேன். அந்த கவிதை தொகுப்பு தான் ஃபஸ்ட்டு இன்ஸ்பிரேஷன். முதல்ல வந்து குழந்தைகளை பற்றி எழுதணும் அப்படிங்கிறதுக்கு. நீங்கள் சொல்லுங்கள்.
So her list is mainly women writing, children's books.
First time writers.
First time and new young writers, probably first time writers. And when it comes to children's book, she feels that, you know, the women who take care of the children at home beyond all the other work they do, they are the source of important stories, and that's how she created her bond with her daughter by writing a collection of poems that expressed her love for her child.
சிறுகை அளாவிய கூழ் அந்த பேர், புக்கு பேர் சிறுகை அளாவிய கூழ். அது சொல்லு. இல்லை, அது இங்கிலீஷில் எப்படி சொல்கிறது தெரியல, அது போயிட்டு. ஓகே, டிஃபிகல்ட். சிறுகை அளாவிய கூழ், அது தமிழ். ஓகே. அந்த புத்தகத்துக்கு வந்து ஒரு நல்ல வரவேற்பு இருந்தது. அதுக்கப்புறம் நான் வந்து தொடர்ந்து புதிய தலைமுறையில் வேலை நிமித்தமாக கதைகள்லாம் எழுதுவோம், குழந்தைகளுக்கான கதைகள்லாம். நல்ல குழந்தை கதைகள் வருது அப்படிங்கிறது அப்போ தான் எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சுது. நான் எழுதும்போது குழந்தைகளோட அந்த மன உணர்வுகள், அந்த அவங்க எப்படி ஃபீல் பண்ணுவாங்க, இப்போவுமே நான் குழந்தையாக தான் இருக்கேன், அது வேறு விஷயம். அவங்க எப்படி நல்லா ஃபீல் பண்ணுவாங்க அப்படிங்கிறதெல்லாம் வந்து என்னால் உள்வாங்கி அப்படியே நானே குழந்தையாக மாறி கதை எழுத ஆரம்பித்தேன். அதெல்லாம் எங்கள் பாப்பா கிட்டேருந்து எனக்கு வந்தது தான்.
So she was inspired by her daughter to, you know, see herself as a young baby and then write stories from those perspectives. And she finds that there's quite a lot of response for the stories that she creates. And I think her daughter is also a storyteller, and her son Mudalvan also draws pictures for her publications. Gayatri. Next question is for Gayatri. So, when you think of the future of your publishing house, what are you planning to do in the future that is beyond what you have done so far in the company?
Okay. So we have 5 imprints. One is under 0 degree, we bring out English books, usually translations, a lot of translations from Tamil to English. And then Eluthu Prasuram, we bring out literary fiction in that imprint. And in another imprint, we bring out, popular fictions, romance, mystery, thrillers, everything in one imprint. And one imprint, CDP specifics, is for non-fiction. And we have just started an imprint for children, which is called Kamarkat. We bring out books both in English and Tamil. But, in future, I want to publish, in English, you can see a lot of illustrated, abridged classics for children. Like, Shakespeare's and Charles Dickens. You have a lot of illustrated classics, but you don't have books like those in Tamil. So I want to bring out abridged classics of Tamil writers, for children. So the work is going on. So we want to, pick out few authors and bring out abridged editions of those classics, especially for children. Okay. And we want to work with all these literary clubs of schools and colleges and introduce them to these classics.
Thank you. And Niveda, before we go to the audience questions, quickly in 2 minutes, what do you think is the impact of books that you have published, and how do you perceive that impact?
So Her Stories is a people's only organization. Like, we are a not-for-profit foundation. We are registered as a trust. We are not a company. So we are building this as a community movement of bringing women together. This is a bestseller. We are the Dupatta, my dear. And there are a lot of NGOs with whom we work, NGOs who work with school children. And this particular NGO called Aware, they worked a workshop at Kallakurchi. And that Kallakurchi workshop made the national headlines. The Scroll, the Quint, BBC, everybody went about this book. Because we had hundreds of girls, tribal girls, removing their dupattas and throwing it away after reading this book. Because that is the change that we want to bring. It's not like shedding the dupattas. It's like shedding the patriarchy and the norms that always chain you down. So we are trying to work towards that, to bring about a change in how people perceive feminism. It's not like, feminism is not where women go fighting against men. It is a fight that men and women continue to do together against patriarchy. And we are very clear in that. So we are taking this as a movement. That is number one. And the number two that I would love to say is that building a readership base is very, very important for any publishing house, especially when it is a community-involved publishing house. So I am trying to do that. We have there are two small-town women I would love to quote, one from Thoothukudi and another from Aathur. Both of them have started children's libraries in their homes and inviting the street children to come into their homes and read the books, all children's books and these kind of feminist books that we are publishing. So, and these two women, they wore their chudidar for the first time when they came for a workshop to us. They've never even worn a chudidar, they've never traveled in a train alone, and they came alone for the workshops that we run for women. We do a lot of workshops, and for women's writing, for children's writing, and we even had a workshop on understanding women, and we had only male participants in that workshop, and it was a big hit that the newspaper reported about it. So thank you. The social impact.
So we'll go to the questions now. First question here.
Good afternoon, I'm Dr. Chavi Gandhi. My question is to Nivedita ma'am. As an author of contemporary women fiction, I would like to ask one question. When I plan to write a lot of contemporary women fictions in future, but my one small insecurity is that I'm limiting my audience. Do you feel that insecurity as an author of feminist books?
Of course, yes. I work on non-fiction. I work on a completely different plane than fiction. So when it comes to non-fiction, I'm finding it a more, coveted space because it is a male-dominated field when it comes to non-fiction. So you write history, you write archaeology, you write ethnography. It is a male-dominated field. I always feel insecure when I am writing in the genre in which I feel very comfortable with. But then let it not bow you down. Let it not hold you down. If you really have a good script, you could please send it to me. We'll be very happy to publish that. It's an open invitation. Anytime you're writing any feminist work, please reach out to us. We'll be glad to publish it. Don't feel insecure.
There's one question in the back.
This question is for Ms. Ramasubramaniam. So one aspect of the publishing is to convert, make non-Tamil fiction accessible to Tamil readers. But this is more regarding the stories that are written by Tamil writers. How do non-Tamil readers have access to that? Do you also publish it in both languages, or is it always only in Tamil?
No, we have translated a few authors into English. Actually, we started with translating Tamil books into English. We have translated quite a few authors, like R. Madhavan, short stories, and then we call it as Boundless and Bare, Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3. We have introduced R. Madhavan, a very classic writer, and then Tanjai Prakash, and then Lacha Ramamridam. So we continue to do that also. Actually, we have. The new writers, yes, we have few translations of new writers also. We have a translation of Lakshmi Saravana Kumar, yes, Kandagan, which is won Yuva Puraskar Award. We have translated that into, we have translated that, it was titled as Huntsman in English. And then we have translated one more author called Saravanan Chandran. His Aindu Mudalaigalin Kadai was translated as Tale of Five Crocodiles into English. Yeah, slowly we are translating even the contemporary authors. The problem is the sales and the marketing part of it.
Any other questions? Yeah. Please wait
Yes,
for the
they
mic,
are.
sir.
They are.
The mic.
Yes.
Okay, and the question in the front. Front row. Yeah. Yeah. Please, please
Okay.
ask.
Good afternoon. My name is Amarjot and I work with the Hindu newspaper. I wanted to ask you about what kind of genres are doing really well when it comes to Tamil publishing houses. And which ones do you prefer also, and which ones, statistically, which ones tend to be picked up more than any other?
The question is for anybody in particular?
All of you. You could possibly, you'd be...
I think Kannan will be the best.
Can you quickly repeat the question?
Okay. The question is, which genre of writing happens to be the most famous and the most picked up so far as Tamil publishing is concerned?
Okay. So from my experience, if you let go of the self-help groups, all those utility books, if you want to talk about literary fiction, non-fiction, academic books, serious research, works of journalism, works of ideas, in that case, it depends on the brand the publishing house has built. What my publishing house brand is more focused on, if let's say fiction, then that's what will sell more in my stand, while the stand right opposite to me in the same book fair might sell non-fiction more because that's how they have built the brand. So I think, one thing we can generally say is that the space for non-fiction is growing over the years. That's something we can say.
So how do you think, this question is for all of you, maybe for three of you, the women on the stage. Do you think women in publishing will change or do you think have changed or will change the economy of publishing and the kind of books that you publish in comparison with men in publishing? It could be an umbrella question where how does the distribution affects, how does the kind of books you're picking, the kind of authors you're picking affect. So overall, how does the economy of publishing affect when there are women publishers more? Do you think that is there is a difference?
Only for one to take this question. So Niveda, you answer.
No, I don't
yeah.
I don't think women have made a very marked difference when it comes to
not
the
at all.
economy of publishing. I would rather say it has changed the very philosophy of publishing. Like, there is always an idea of what will sell and what will not sell. The traditional trade horses of publishing, they think there are certain genres that will sell. As Kannan rightly pointed out, I think nonfiction is the way to move forward because we always promote nonfiction. Her Stories has more than 80% of nonfiction works. And so I think nonfiction, feminism has been my biggest draw because that is my USP. I always find my book selling well when it talks about contemporary feminism. And economically speaking, I think everybody has to, we have made a marked difference. No.
I asked this question because I think women market it differently. The marketing of women's
Yes, word of mouth. Word of mouth is very important from what
I have a
point.
comment there, but what I think is, when you say does not made in economically, has it changed the GDP of publishing? Probably no. But what I would say is that because Her Stories is publishing a number of books, they may not have been published without Her Stories. In that sense, they have brought in more writers into
More
the
than
market,
25
more
authors.
readers into the market, and in some way, helped the economy of book grow. Maybe not in the larger scale, but in more micro scale. These books have been published. They have their own readers, and that I can say for Her Stories and a few other many companies who focus on specific things like Dalit writing, or probably even selling a kind of, let's say, books on ecology. Whenever you make such an attempt, you do bring in new readers, and you take the books to the reader, and you make a small shift in the market.
Thank you.